Welcome back to our weekly deep dive, where we dissect the most intriguing news from around the globe. Today, we're discussing a story that has caught the eye of many, the lavish gifts reportedly given at a recent Ambani wedding.
That's right. It's been reported that some guests at an Ambani wedding received gifts valued at over $3 million. For those who might not know, the Ambanis are one of the wealthiest families in India, prominent in sectors like telecom, energy, and retail.
Absolutely. And when it comes to weddings, the Ambani family is known for their opulence and grandeur. But $3 million in gifts definitely sets a new standard even for them. It makes you wonder about the scale and the nature of these gifts.
Indeed, it does. The reports suggest that these gifts weren't just your typical wedding favors. We're talking about high-end luxury items, possibly jewelry, designer watches, maybe even cars. The specifics aren't clear, but it's obvious that no expense was spared.
It also raises some interesting questions about the cultural aspects of gifting in weddings, especially in affluent circles. In many cultures, including Indian, gifting is a significant part of wedding celebrations. But this scale is something else entirely.
Yes, and while many might see this as an extravagant display of wealth, others might argue it's a part of their tradition and culture to provide memorable gifts to wedding guests, especially those from influential backgrounds.
That's a good point. Also, thinking about the economic impact such lavish spending does flow into various industries. Luxury goods, event management, hospitality, potentially boosting the local economy.
True, though it also brings up discussions about wealth disparity, especially in a country like India, where there is significant contrast between the rich and the poor. Actions like these can sometimes highlight these disparities even more.
Certainly a point of contention. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the public perception of these high-profile weddings. Do you think events like these affect how the Ambanis or similar families are viewed by the general public?
It can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, some admire the grandeur and the fairy tale-like aspect of such events. On the other, it could lead to criticism about lavish lifestyles during tough economic times for others.
And not to forget the media coverage. Such events receive extensive media attention, not just nationally, but globally. This not only puts the Ambanis in the limelight, but also brings a lot of eyes to the brands and designers associated with the wedding.
Absolutely. The ripple effect on brand visibility and reputation can be immense. Speaking of visibility, considering the environmental impact of such large-scale events is becoming increasingly important. Do we know if there were any sustainable practices considered during this wedding?
That's a crucial aspect to consider, and as of now, details on the sustainability front haven't been highlighted much in the reports. It would indeed be interesting to see how such large events handle the environmental responsibility.
To wrap up, while it's fascinating to peek into these extravagant events, it also opens up a multitude of discussions about societal values, economic impact, and sustainability. It will be interesting to see how public perceptions and practices evolve in response to these events in the coming years.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. For our listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Do you think such lavish gifting at weddings is merely a celebration of culture and tradition, or does it highlight deeper economic and social issues?
Thank you all for tuning in, and don't forget to engage with us through our social media channels. We appreciate your insights and discussions on such fascinating topics. Until next time, stay curious and informed.
Goodbye, everyone, and looking forward to another engaging conversation next week.